Hey church, and welcome to this week's small group. Now I want to remind you that we talked this last Sunday about the principle that life is only worth building if you build it right. And so with that theme in mind, we're going to jump into our small group for this week. I want to give a special thanks to Crosspoint Community Church because I came across some of their Bible study questions as I was studying for myself, and they were so relevant to me in my life, I wanted to share some of those questions with you. So let's start out with these two questions. Who do you consider to be a wise person? And what makes that person so wise? And share one wise and one foolish choice that you have made in your life. And what were the outcomes of those choices? I want you to start out by reading Proverbs chapter 1, verse 7. What does the fear of the Lord mean? And why is this considered the foundation of wisdom? And secondly, do you agree with this verse? And how have you experienced or observed the truth of this verse in your own life? I want to make sure that we're all on the same page when it comes to the fear of the Lord. The fear of the Lord is not running away from God like he's some kind of Godzilla character, right? He's not an abusive God. It's one of these things where I would consider it to be lovingly respectful of him. It's kind of like my kids. My kids fear me. They love me and they fear my love, but yet they also fear my correction and my discipline. And in the same way, we should love God, but then respect and fear his discipline. So read Proverbs chapter 2, verses 1 through 11. What are the benefits of applying wisdom to your life? And what are some of the specific things that you can start doing to apply wisdom to your life today? Next, I want you to read Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 through 7. When have you been pushed to really trust God with your life? And please tell the story and explain the result of that. And does trusting God and not leaning on your own understanding imply that you never rely on your own instincts? And how do you balance these two out in your life? What does that look like for you? Next, I want you to read Proverbs chapter 13, verse 10, and Proverbs chapter 15, verse 12. Do you find it hard or easy to receive advice? And do you ever resist advice? And why? And how do you know when the advice you're getting is good advice? Next, I want you to read Proverbs chapter 13, verse 20. Do you think that this verse is true? And how have you seen this principle play out in your own life or in the life of others? And are you walking with the wise? Are your relationships positively or negatively impacting you? As we wrap up this week, I want you to read Proverbs chapter 1, verse 7 one more time. Are you living your life as someone who is wise, or are you living your life as someone who is foolish? What areas of your life need to be submitted to God? Finally, I want you to close in prayer. Ask God to give us the strength to change those areas of our life where we're living foolishly. And I want to remind you before we close today that life is only worth building if you build it right. God bless you. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you on Sunday.